this is gonna start okay. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. The whole premise of this video is the fact that I'm slightly irritated, not like incredibly irritated or even moderately irritated, just slightly irritated. Oh god. There's gonna be a lot of cutting out of the coughing that is happening during this. Side note, I am still pretty sick, but I have some shit to say, so you know me, I can't shut the fuck up when I have an opinion about something. So here we are. So if I sound slightly like a congested man, that's what you get for this. I can't help it. I really just had to stop this for a second and literally just like cough and sweat and gag and die for like 10 minutes, but I'm back. What the fuck I was saying is, I am slightly irritated at the fact that conservatives are being very liberal-like in the way that they are just accepting anybody and everybody and embracing them and putting them on a pedestal simply because they say something that aligns with your views once. We're better than that. We don't need to do that. So with that being said, let's talk about Nicki Minaj. So in 2019, Nicki Minaj married a man.
Nicki Minaj and Kenneth Petty officially got married after teasing their nuptials for the past few weeks.
They brought a baby into this very fucked up world, October of 2020.
It has been confirmed by People and TMZ that Nicki Minaj has given birth to her very first child. She and her husband Kenneth Petty have a newborn baby of their very own.
And as of like 2 weeks ago, I think, he pled guilty during like a virtual hearing, which for this kind of crime just doesn't make sense to me, especially. Like, I guess we're still pretending like COVID's just so fucking scary, gonna kill us all. You can't have like normal hearings anymore still. But during a virtual hearing, he pled guilty to the fact that he didn't register as a sex offender in California.
People confirmed the news after obtaining court documents that showed that the 43-year-old pleaded guilty on Thursday during a virtual hearing with the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California. Petty now faces a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison and a lifetime of supervised release. Petty is a level 2 registered sex offender in New York. This means he's considered a moderate risk of repeat offense.
I guess they have known each other since childhood. They both grew up in the Queens area. When he was 16 years old, back in 1994, according to him, this is him and Nicki's version of events.
He addressed fans who brought up Kenneth's attempted rape conviction by replying to them on social media, saying he was 15, she was 16, in a relationship.
Nicki Minaj has lied and said that Kenneth was actually younger than the victim, which that's not true. They were the same age when it happened. Like, that can be proven through court documents. And overall, he spent a total of 4 years in prison for this crime. Nicki Minaj still defends it. She says that he's moved on from this kind of thing. In 2002, he killed a man. He shot him dead in the streets of Queens.
Now Kenneth, he went back to prison for first-degree manslaughter and he served 7 years for that crime. Now the charge, it was originally second-degree murder before it was knocked down to manslaughter in March of 2006. He served 7 of the 10 years that he was sentenced to, being released in May of 2013.
So he's a real great guy. He spent 7 years in prison for that. According to the victim, the girl who was raped back in 1994, her version of events is significantly crazier. She says that her and Kenneth were not dating.
No, we were never in a relationship, ever. We never had no type of romantic anything. We never talked on the phone. We never hung out together. I just knew him from the neighborhood.
They like saw each other around the neighborhood. And one day he went up to her.
He asked me where I was going. I said I was going to school. I asked him where he was going. He said he was going to school too. I might have said something like, yeah, right. And I turned away from him. And before you know it, he was grabbing a hold of my jacket.
Jennifer, what happened after he grabbed you?
I felt something in my back. So I just assumed it was a gun.
Okay.
And I started walking. And I'm pleading with him the whole way. I'm trying to understand what does he want, and we get in front of this house. It might have been maybe the second or third house from the corner, and he kind of reaches behind me with his foot to push the door open, and he pushes me up the steps. We walk up the steps. I'm crying because now I'm inside. We walk up the steps, and I'm continuously pleading with him. I'm asking him, like, what do you want? Like, if you just want me to chill here with you, I will. And then he said I knew what he wanted. He pushed me down on the bed. After he got off top of me, he stood in the mirror and he beat his chest. And he said, I'm the man, I'm the man. And so I'm asking him, please let me go. I won't tell nobody. And he just was into the mirror. He just into himself. And he went to light a cigarette. And I thought maybe, like, you know, I seen a roll of toilet paper on the dresser. And I thought maybe if I liked a cigarette, I could get the match to set the toilet paper on fire. And it went out. I squirted his contact lens cleaner in his face, and he was like, thank you for wiping my face. And he just washed the water, and at that time I just seen this big plastic bottle, almost like the bleach bottle, sorry, and I just took it and swung it at him with all my might. And when he went to duck, I pushed him, and he fell in between the beds, and I just ran, and I just kept running. And just kept running, and before I knew it, I was in front of my school, and security guard was asking me, like, where have you been, Jennifer? You're late. And I told them, and they called the police, and the police came, and they put me in a van, and they asked me if I can show them the location of where this happened. I did, and I watched them bring him out in handcuffs. And then they took me to the hospital.
A little fucking different than they were dating and they fucked and she was bitter. A little bit different of a story, you know? I don't care how old you are. I don't care what reason you think you may have. There's no reason to literally put a knife to someone's back in order to have sex with them when they do not want you to be inside of them. There's no defending that at any age, in any circumstance, in my opinion. If that is what happened, which clearly it seems like it was, considering the fact that he was arrested and charged the same day and did serve time for it. And they still consider him a threat to do it again. Just recently, within the past, I believe, 2 months, she has actually come and filed a lawsuit against Nicki Minaj and her husband Kenneth for trying to bribe her to recant a claim that she was raped by him. They wanted to go away. They want to act like it didn't happen. So Nicki Minaj and Kenneth are having a lawsuit thrown at them from this woman, Jennifer.
The lawsuit deals with two things. First, it deals with the crime of 1994 when Kenneth Petty raped Jennifer. And it also deals with the actions of 2020 when Nicki Minaj and Kenneth Petty decided to send their associates to Jennifer and harass her for a 7-month span to get her to recant her story from 1994 in order to get him off of the sex offender registry.
Have you ever spoken to Nicki directly?
I did, in March of 2020. She called me to fly me and my family to LA. I turned it down, and I told her, woman to woman, this really happened. And I hadn't spoken to her since, saying no to every offer, to every suggestion. The last incident was when one of their associates put $20,000 on my lap, and I still kept saying no. The last message I received was that I should have taken the money because they're going to use that money to put on my head. And then I just cut off everything, changed my numbers. I moved multiple times, relocated away from my children because I didn't want anything to come back and affect them. So I've kind of been in fear for the last year.
She was being targeted like from within. Like, it's been pretty fucking crazy. And the woman is like scared of what the fuck like is gonna happen next, because like they made her own family turn on her essentially. And she refuses to recant because she said, what kind of example would that set for my daughters if I came out all these years later and said that I was lying about this? And also, what kind of example would it set for my sons? I know what you're thinking, Sam. Why the fuck do we care? Why do we care? Well, first of all, you don't have to care. You don't have to watch this. If you've gotten this far without literally like giving a single shit or fuck, but you're still watching, like, that's on you. Secondly, I've been wanting to talk about Nicki Minaj and the weird lack of acknowledgement of who her husband is by basically everybody, including her own fans. Her own fans like write this shit off too. The guy's obviously a sketchy motherfucker. You don't just like rape someone by intimidation of a fucking knife, and you don't fucking kill somebody in the streets without being kind of off. The third reason I want to talk about this is because conservatives are literally just like embracing her and putting her on this pedestal of like, oh my gosh, she's speaking the truth. And I can't fucking stand it. Like, it's not about the vulgarity of her. Like, honestly, I find that shit funny. I find her honestly charismatic, very clever, very quick-witted, but to her core, she's a bad person. A lot of people who are really fucked up, dark people who do sketchy fucking shit and are some of the worst people, they could be very charismatic. I feel like that was a mistake. That was indeed a mistake, okay. So all this hype around Nicki Minaj from conservatives all started with a single fucking tweet that was not even bad, wasn't controversial, honestly, shouldn't have been. If we didn't live in a country where half the people have fucking sticks up their asses 24/7 and can't seem to get them out. The Met Gala happened and Nicki Minaj didn't attend, and she was basically explaining why she didn't go. And she said, if I'm gonna get a vaccine, it's not gonna be for that. Like, it'll be after I research and like look into it for myself.
She did not want to leave her baby during this time for the Met Gala or any public events. She also revealed that Drake actually contracted COVID with having the vaccine. People on Twitter began to question Nicki, which led her to respond. She tweeted, "They want you to get vaccinated for the Met. If I get vaccinated, it won't be for the Met." She went on to explain her feelings, sharing, "It'll be once I feel I've done enough research. I'm working on that now. In the meantime, my loves, be safe. Wear the mask with 2 strings that grips your head and face, not that loose one." Went on to tweet about a vaccine story which involved her cousin's friend in Trinidad. She wrote, "My cousin in Trinidad won't get the vaccine because his friend got it and became impotent. His testicles became swollen." Nicki explained that this greatly impacted his friend's life, especially after being weeks away from his wedding, to which she added, "So just pray on it and make sure you're comfortable with your decision, not bullied."
And that's it. That's literally all this bitch said. That was it. And that because people on Twitter are so fucking stupid. Like, Twitter's full of fucking nut jobs. Immediately you had health experts and politicians coming out and being like, well, this is misinformation.
Misinformation, oh my god.
So fucking ridiculous, the world we live in.
Debunked that the next day.
There is absolutely no reported such side effect or adverse event of testicular swelling in Trinidad, or I dare say, Dr. Hines, anywhere else? None that we know of anywhere else in the world.
By yesterday, Minaj was claiming she had been invited to the White House. The press secretary said, not quite.
Did the White House extend an invitation to Nicki Minaj to come here?
We offered a call with Nicki Minaj and one of our doctors to answer questions she had about the safety and effectiveness of the vaccine.
Is there any evidence that the Pfizer, the Moderna, or the J&J vaccines cause any reproductive issues in men or women?
The answer to that, Jake, is a resounding no.
There's no evidence that it happens, nor is there any mechanistic reason to imagine that it would happen. So the answer to your question is no.
And so she started arguing back and forth with people.
Wasn't afraid to respond to constructive criticism on the matter. When Meghan McCain retweeted Nicki's story about her cousin's friend's reaction to the vaccine, Nicki had a simple response, quote, "Eat you." At one point, she even shared an article from Variety about her tweets, claiming, quote, "Never said this, glad all my tweets were left up," on it. However, fans were confused as to what she actually meant by her initial tweets, which has since caused a massive debate on her timeline.
He also unleashed on MSNBC's Joy Reid after the TV host lectured the rapper.
For you to use your platform to put people in the position of dying from a disease they don't have to die from, oh my God. As a fan, as a hip hop fan, as somebody who is your fan, I'm so sad that you did that.
Nicki accused Joy of lying, spreading a false narrative, and trying to down a black woman.
At one point, she even retweeted some clip of Tucker Carlson, I think, and someone said something about him being like a white nationalist.
After Hassan Piker pointed out that a video where Nicki supports her claims about the vaccine featured white nationalist Tucker Carlson.
And so to that, she said, "I can't speak to, agree with, or even look at someone from a particular political party. People aren't human anymore. If your black and a Democrat tells you to shove marbles up your ass, you simply have to. If another party tells you to look out for that bus, sit there and get hit." Like, where's the lie? Like, some of the things she said were very fucking truthful. And Nicki Minaj used Twitter, like, honestly more than, like, a lot of basically any other social media, from what I can gather. She goes, like, live on Instagram and she's just like, "I'll never fucking use Twitter again. Look at what they did to me."
What's interesting is so many of your favorite artists feel this way, but they're afraid to speak up. And I can't blame them. Look at what they just did. I will never use Twitter again. But don't y'all see what's fucking happening? Don't y'all see that we are living now in that time where people will turn their back on you if you don't, not only not agree, fuck not agreeing, but people will isolate you if you simply speak and ask a question. Y'all don't see what the is happening? And I'm seeing black women on Twitter, black women I follow, acting like this is funny. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I had a lot of fun yesterday and a lot of laughs. But black women, are y'all forgetting there was a time not too long ago where you couldn't even make eye contact with people? And you're okay with what's happening? We're no longer even allowed to voice our opinions or to ask questions. So what it's making me think now is that there's something bigger to it. You know, like when I kept on seeing all these people with all these conspiracy theories, I would be like, oh, what? Oh, please, you know. But what in the world scared y'all that much that made you disable my fucking Twitter? I have not put out anything that I said was a fact about anything. I simply said we should be able to ask questions and speak. And it's scary when they start telling you you can't ask questions about anything.
This is fine and dandy and very revealing to a lot of people who have been just like purposely stupid for years. Like willfully ignorant idiots, like finally like we're like, oh, look at what happens when you like kind of don't think the same. Duh. Like that's what we've been telling you people for years. Why you continue to think like everyone else and just get mad at people acting like she's red pilled. Stupid. She said one thing that made sense once. Congratulations on having a thought, Nicki Minaj, that like should be common sense. Like, welcome to the fucking party. Stop hyping her up. It's so fucking ridiculous. You can use her as an example of an elite who like finally got some sense knocked into them, but she's still a shitty person and should not be supported, in my opinion. I'm just irritated by people like even Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, like hyping her up. I don't vibe with people who kill people. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm the weird one. I don't know. I don't vibe with people who like rape people at knife point either. So like, if that's your vibe, that's cool. But like, I'm not gonna ever agree with someone who defends that and even tries to bribe the person who it happened to like take it back so that their life is easier. That's not a good person. And so if conservatives could just like chill, like, yes, the Nicki memes are kind of funny. The internet's very clever, but please don't actually support this woman because she's not a good person. You can support what she said. I feel like that's fair. That's legitimate. But to actually support her, no. And I just feel like conservatives we're so deprived in our party of having anybody mainstream really like align themselves with anything we say or do or think or support. So I get it. I get the desperateness of it all, but just stop. We don't need to sink that low because it's just a matter of time before people will just be so affected that they can't help but to realize they've been wrong and we've been right. Like, we don't need to act like Nicki Minaj is some fucking great person or red-pilled or whatever the fuck the media on the right wants to say. That's it. I'm slightly irritated. That's all. That's the video. Let me know your thoughts below. Thanks for watching. Give it a like, give it a dislike. I don't care. Just give me engagement. I beg you. Subscribe if you like me and haven't already. And you will see me next time I have some shit to say. And hopefully I won't sound like a congested man. Bye, guys.